Welcome back to the Kingsview Model Railway channel. Today we've got something really special. This is a New South Wales Government Railways AD 60, the famous Garratt, but it's one of these Unicorn models that was made in 1985, 1986 from the famous shop in Sydney, Mansfield Hobbies. And we're going to review this locomotive, and it's been fitted with a ZIMO DCC chip. So stay tuned and enjoy our review. I was lucky enough to get a hold of one of these last year. I've spent 5 years trying to find one. These are like proverbial rocking horse. You just can't find them, and the ones that are available, very, very tightly held. I don't know what the production run at the time was, but it was rumoured to be somewhere between 50 and 100 units. They were available in brass finish, or they were factory painted. This particular model has been factory painted. It's 6042. So let's have a look at what's inside. Now the locomotive's already assembled, it's over on the layout. But I'm just going to show you what's in the box and how good this particular model is. So now in the days from Mansfield, they always used to supply a photograph of what a Garratt looked like, or a 38 or whatever it might have been. Here's a couple of pictures here, postcards. They always used to put these in the bag. Now, this locomotive was actually bought by Mr. J.E. Morgan. I've actually got the original receipt. He paid $995 for it, and he picked it up on the 26th of 3rd, 1986. And he lay-byed it, and he paid a couple of payments, and he bought it. Now, I'm not the second owner, I'm about the fourth owner. It was then sold to another gentleman, and that's his receipt there. And I purchased it off him. So, so it came, with a sheet here, 6001 to 6042, just showing the driving wheels, tractive effort, Mansfield's details. It also came with a nice diagram here, as you can see here. Let's put that over here a bit so you can see it. How to disassemble a loco. I noticed they spelled Garratt wrong, but we'll forgive them that one. But lots of people can't spell it today, so. I'm not surprised you couldn't spell it in 1986. So, how to disassemble the chassis, how the gearbox and the motor comes together. It's got 3 screws holding it together. Then in the box there's a number of sundry screws. There's a couple of little springs and some tiny screws, plastic bags, and a little bit of packaging. So what we'll do is we'll go over to the layout and we'll see this loco running. But before we do that, I just got to pull up some information here on the web, which shows us what this locomotive was like. I mean, I've seen these locomotives on a number of sites, particularly in the US. They've been selling anywhere from $2,500 to $4,000 US. That's for the few that have made it overseas. If you're looking for one of these locomotives, you can expect to pay at least $2,500. It's not a cheap locomotive. It's considered to be one of the Unicorn brass locomotives in the New South Wales fleet. So be prepared that if someone puts one up for sale and it's in really good condition, that you can expect to pay north of $2,500, and they're worth every bit of it because they run beautifully, and as you'll see, are a gorgeous looking loco. Anyway, off over to the layout and we'll have a look and see how it's running. This particular locomotive is modelled as 6042, a very special model for New South Wales modellers, in that this was the very last steam engine to come into service in New South Wales, so this was the very final locomotive. Unfortunately, these days it's sitting in a paddock out at the Forbes area, owned by the Dorrigo Steam Railway. With a bit of luck, one day they'll have the resources to move it up to Dorrigo, and maybe, hopefully, it will have a better life than sitting out in the weather in a paddock, where it's at the exposure of the weather. But Nevertheless, it still exists, but in a very sad and sorry state. This particular locomotive has had a ZIMO DCC Sound Chip fitted. The reason I'm using ZIMO at the moment is because of their superlative low-speed running characteristics, plus they're highly configurable. And currently I'm finding the reliability of these chips to be certainly a lot higher than equivalent brands. And the ZIMO, as I said, highly functional. And I bought this chip off Buck and Bill Trains back before Christmas, and my good friend John at the Gold Coast Model Railway Club has fitted the chip for me, and a big shout out to John. Thank you very much. You've done a brilliant job. Now, I have not had the marker lights or headlights fitted, as this is such a beautiful model that the chances of damaging these components by fitting either LEDs or whatever to make it even better was very, very high. And it's such a rare locomotive that it's far better off just to have it with DCC sound in it. And I've got another loco which we can see later, which is a DJH, which is fitted with marker lights and headlights. And whilst that does add to the realism, I'm not too concerned with this loco. So here's how it goes. So the locomotive, when you fire it up, the sound immediately comes on, and the only way you can turn that off is to press function 8, and the sound will go off, just like that. And it's a little bit reversed to, say, a lock sound or a TCS type decoder. When you press 8, it'll come back on, and on the screen it shows that it's not selected. So they work a little bit in reverse. So when you've got a few of these ZIMO chips in your locos on your layer, when you first fire it up, you're going to get all your locos are going to have sound on them, and if you don't want certain locos to have sound, you really do need to turn them off. But nevertheless, while it's sitting there, it just cycles through some lovely steam sounds. So when we give it a little bit of speed momentum, we'll just give it, that is speed step 1. And as you can see, it's just crawling. 2. As we increase the speed. So we'll just bring it back into the screen. So you hear the steam cocks open, and back it comes. Lovely strong chuff too. A little bit of brake squeal as it comes to a stop. So here's the whistle. Now function 3 is 3 short bursts for when the loco is running in reverse. So here it is again. Function 4 is the drain cocks. Function 5 is uncoupling, and off it goes. So it actually runs a little program where it just uncouples, goes forwards and back, which is really nice. So function 6 is max chuff, which you'll hear, when it's actually pulling a load. Function 8 turns the sound on and off. F9 is the tender hatch. That's the sound of the hatch being open, then of course they bounce backwards and forwards. Right, F11 is the generator. If you had the markers fired up, it would sound like this. Hear the generator come on. And there's a F12 also does the same thing. F13 is for shunting markers in both directions. So if they were again attached, you'd be able to see that. F15 increases or decreases the volume. Function 21 is the compressor. So we'll just get that going. Should be able to hear that running there now. Yep. And it's got also some ZIMO specific functions, which are shoveling coal and safety valves. So they work with the ZIMO specific controller. So what we'll do now is we'll go down and we'll pick up a coal load and we'll take it for a run around the layout. Well, to finish up this review, this is a beautiful example of the Mansfield Hobbies AD60, twin motors, one chip, running in unison. The sound profile provided by Buck and Bill Trains is absolutely awesome, and probably one of the best Garratt sounds I've heard. I've got a number of custom sound files in Garratt's, but this one certainly takes the cake. The low speed running of this chip is absolutely legendary. And I can't really fault the way the ZIMO chip runs and operates in this locomotive. It really suits the low speed operation of an AD60. So with that, can I fully recommend them? Yes, I can. And what a superb model from Mansfield. The David Anderson and his team sadly passed away now, but the reality was Mansfield's set the edge and set the standard for brass locomotives made here in Australia, and this one fits into our roster very well and joins our other AD60s. We've got a DJH and a couple of Eureka ones as well, but I think this one probably tops the charts. The DJH one is a very good second to this one, and the Eurekas come in at third. Even though they are a later model, they just don't have the detail and the running characteristics of this fine model. So hope you enjoyed this review of the Mansfield Hobbies AD60. Love to see what your comments are, and happy to talk about AD60s or any other brass locomotives, but this one a fine addition to our collections. We'll see you next time.